Yeah, we were good.
I think we got closer, right? Don't you
You and I?
Yeah, I think.
No.
If the last several months have proven anything, it's that Ellen DeGeneres is not what she appears to be. To the extent that longtime viewers of her show are going back and re-watching old interviews she did to find traces of her true persona. And the results have been rather shocking. And when you add that to other accounts from other stars, you have to wonder just how much we should have seen before all this happened. So allow us to show you 7 celebrities that warned us about Ellen DeGeneres. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. Caitlyn Jenner.
I don't ever want to stand in front of anybody's happiness.
This is arguably one of the most famous interviews that Ellen ever did. But depending on who you talk to, this isn't exactly how it went down, and who came off looking worse may be up to you. Caitlyn Jenner and her transformation into who she is right now is one that is still being debated and talked about to this day. But when it happened, it caused a media stir that led to a string of interviews on shows like Ellen's. When they did their first interview together, Ellen was all for Caitlyn and her fight for the rights of transgender people. That is until Caitlyn started to talk about her feelings on marriage. Ellen is not just married, she's happily married to a woman and has been one of the most vocal people in terms of the rights for the community, especially when addressing marriage. According to Jenner, she was once very opposed to it because of her traditionalist nature. But when Jenner tried to recover and say she was okay with it now, Ellen wasn't biting, and that's when things got really awkward. After the interview, Ellen stated that she still didn't understand Jenner's position on the matter of marriage. Furthermore, Ellen offered Caitlyn the chance to dance with her, but she wouldn't do it. So Ellen said, maybe she didn't want to dance with me because I'm into women. To make matters even more awkward, Jenner was apparently offended by what Ellen said about her after the show to the audience. So she went on to the Howard Stern show and mocked her there. But according to Jenner, she called Ellen before the interview to outline what she wanted to talk about, including her shifting stance on non-straight marriage. But Ellen didn't play ball. Furthermore, she stated that Ellen never asked her to dance, and that she would have loved to have danced if she'd been asked to. So was Jenner set up for failure here? That does seem to be the case, and if so, that shows that Ellen is willing to manipulate an interview to make herself look like a better person, and that seems to track with everything else she's been accused of. Number 6. Drew Barrymore.
Why I would never do that again kind of way.
Right.
You know? Don't pretend you're not who you were.
This particular incident didn't happen on the Ellen DeGeneres show, but one of the other shows she tried to host one time. NBC decided to try and make a show called First Dates, a show about how painful and awkward first dates can be, and thus get some laughs out of the audience. A good time all around. They decided to bring in Drew Barrymore, A-list star of Hollywood, and Ellen DeGeneres to be co-hosts on the show. But apparently, it didn't work out because the two just couldn't get along both on camera and off. For a co-hosting gig, chemistry is everything, and these two just apparently didn't have it, even being referred to as oil and water backstage. Apparently, the two were divided in regards to who the top host was, as they each had their own massive fame and fan bases, and each felt that they deserved to be the one calling the shots behind the camera. Between all this friction and anger over who got to control what, the show wasn't picked up for a second season, which may have been the best option given everything that was going on. However, this proves something rather definitive about Ellen as a whole. Mainly, she wants control, complete control, and Drew Barrymore wasn't the only one to note that. Number 5. Kelly Ripa.
Okay, here I go.
This very public incident happened with Kelly Ripa and Ellen DeGeneres, and it's one where the sides are a bit more visible than you might expect. You see, Kelly Ripa was once upon a time teamed up with legendary football player Michael Strahan. You would think this would be an odd couple kind of pairing because of their different backgrounds. But in fact, Strahan was perfect for the co-hosting gig, and the audience loved him. They were the top show and duo for some time, but then they broke up, and it wasn't said to be amicable. Wanting to respect the split, many hosts didn't have either of them as guests after it was announced. But Ellen wasted no time in getting Strahan on to talk about it in full. Kelly Ripa did not appreciate this. That's because she felt that this meant Ellen sided with Strahan over the split. Ellen's defense was that she didn't know that the feud would be Ripa's response to this, and she just wanted Strahan as a guest. Can we believe that this was all done innocently? Honestly, it's hard to say considering Ellen is involved. Number 4. Kathy Griffin.
Oh, this is good.
Kathy Griffin is a comedian who became a major presence on TV over the years, even hosting a show with Anderson Cooper of all people. But her own personality and style of comedy has gotten her in trouble, such as when she did a very graphic photo of her with Donald Trump's head, or when she decided to call Ellen DeGeneres mean in one of her books. She made a piece called Kathy Griffin's Celebrity Run-Ins, and it was information and disses on numerous people in Hollywood, and Ellen was in the book too. Now, she didn't name her, but the description of the person left no doubt it was Ellen. She noted that Ellen once hosted the Emmy Awards, and she kicked Griffin out of the dressing room. Allegedly, of course. Kathy also went on to note that when it came to Ellen's mean streak, most of Hollywood knew about it and just wouldn't talk about it. Needless to say, Ellen wasn't really happy with what Griffin did, and after the book came out, the two apparently had an argument over the phone, one that resulted in Griffin crying after it was done. Of course, the irony of this now is that Kathy appears to have been right. Ellen has been called out for her mean streak on her daytime talk show, and many Hollywood people have come forward stating that Ellen's tactics and demeanor were known all over Hollywood. So in many ways, Kathy was a prophet, and like many prophets, they weren't believed until it was too late. Number 3. Cher.
I'm not a Cher fan.
Yeah.
I'm really not.
You're not a Cher
Well, I'm
fan.
not a big Cher fan. No, I'm really not.
Ellen has been known to be very fun with her guests, and yet, at times, she pushes things far beyond what they need to be and what they should be. A great example of this was when she had the one and only Cher on her show. For fun, Ellen took her to a hair salon and decided to surprise some people with some funny haircuts done by the two of them. Cher was into this, but Ellen kept hamming up the joint, trying to make it more about comedy than giving people funny haircuts. Ellen continually interfered with Cher's work. Then she started to do some karaoke on Cher's songs and called out the lyrics, which got Cher to clap back at her. And let's just say that she didn't like what Ellen said and called her a not-so-nice name. At the end, Ellen tried to say that her and Cher were best friends, but you could see that Cher wasn't buying that and even walked away from her. Look, it's fine to be funny, but there's a line, and when you start being annoying to your guest, that's a warning sign that things aren't exactly what they appear. Also, Cher's never been back on the show. That's a sign right there. Number 2. Nikki DeJager.
When I was younger, I was born in the wrong body.
Ellen has had on various guests over the years, and one of them, YouTuber Nikki DeJager, had some rather harsh criticisms in regards to how she was treated on the show. Maybe I'm being naive, but I expected them to welcome me with confetti. "Welcome to the Ellen DeGeneres Show," she said in the interview seen by Pop Crave. But instead, I got greeted by an angry intern who was a bit overworked. I expected a Disney show, but I got a Teletubbies After Dark. Oh, and it got worse. Every guest at Ellen had a private toilet, but I didn't, she said. I couldn't even use the closest toilet to me because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers. This was strange, she said, because her videos got a lot more views on YouTube than theirs did. They were allowed, but I wasn't, she said. My interview got 8 million views, while theirs only got 2 million. Ha! As for Ellen herself, let me say that there's a big difference between this show and Ellen DeGeneres, and I'm saying that in favor of this show, DeJager said. According to a translation by YouTuber T account Sebastian Williams. It's nice that you say hi before the show. She didn't. A thought that would carry on with another guest. Number 1. Corinne Olympios.
I think that you'll see a lot more of Corinne as the season
In
goes
what
on.
way do you mean that?
When model Corinne Olympios went on to Ellen's show, thrilled to be seeing Ellen for the first time, she found herself severely disappointed. After going on the show, she later did an interview with The Morning Breath and admitted that she was very shocked by how Ellen not only acted on her show behind the scenes, but that overall, she was made to feel uncomfortable by Ellen. Which she clarified by noting that she was a big fan of Ellen going into the show, and yet by the end of it, she had mixed feelings. And now many in the world have mixed feelings about Ellen, which is a stark contrast from where we were last year. So what do you think? What do you think of these times where Ellen clearly proved that she wasn't as nice as people thought she was? Which of these incidents did you already know about? Which one did you find out about via this video and were shocked to see? Do you think that Ellen's image will ever recover from this year? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.